curious butterflies.
You mean bread and butterflies?
Oh, yes, of course.
Hi friends, it's China and I wanted to show you how to do this Igari style makeup look on dark skin. So Igari is a Japanese style makeup and it's supposed to make you look very flush, like how you do after you just drink a glass of wine. It's very dewy, very natural in the base, but it does have a lot of blush. I toned it down a little bit to go with darker skin since we don't be blushing like that. So I'm really excited to show you how to get this look. I think it turned out really, really pretty and I think that it looks very soft and everyday friendly. Let's get started. Here we are, cheers, drinking wine at like 2 p.m. Don't recommend for everyone. However, I am on the unemployed side of life, so that reminds me, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe because this might be my new direction in life. So the first thing that I did was applied a primer, which I used this e.l.f. mattifying primer, and then I went in with my Juvia's Place concealer, and the only places that I concealed was around my eyelids, my chin, and then around my nose. So we're gonna start from there. I will not be using a foundation today. If you do want to use a foundation, I would go for a more dewy foundation because this looks very natural, and I believe that a dewy foundation gets a little bit closer to a natural look. Let me show you guys the next step, which is going to be applying my contour. Using the Fenty contour today. She's dirty as hell. Now I want to show you the exact placements in which I apply my contour. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. First thing that I'm going to do is create a button nose by putting 2 contour lines here and then kind of making a circle around. It's kind of like the shape that you would do if you were drawing a scarecrow on your face, if that makes sense. And then I really like to do a potent, I guess, contour around my eyes and like this part of my nose. So you're gonna go in and basically make a C. You can do it as like tiny, I guess, as you want. If you want to put it a little bit more onto your bridge to make more of a skinny bridge for your nose, you can. And then you're going to go in and just connect this to the bridge. I just do a straight line and here. And then I'm just gonna take a fluffy brush in order to blend that out. And I'm really just going to focus on tapping it because I like to keep it a little bit heavy on the nose. So I don't want it to disappear too much. If I like rub it in, then it kind of just takes off the product and there's really no point of doing that. Also, doing this with like a beauty blender could be really good for keeping a good amount of product on. So I'm still creating that C as I tap and kind of like really heavily tapping it out under the brow just so that it seamlessly goes into the rest of the skin. And then this is a little bit pointed, so with this little pointed end, I am going to brush up and down on where I created the rest of my bridge. And then I'm not going to do too much contour on my face, but I am going to take this bronzing brush. I think this is a bronzing brush. Rub it into my Fenty. I'm just like rubbing it in instead of placing it on my face first. And then patting it in and then brushing it down. And what I'm trying to do is create a more rounded look for the face because this is such a youthful makeup look. I want it to look like I have a cute little round face. I'm gonna bring it down onto my face, or sorry, onto my neck. Okay, so I'm going to fill out my eyebrows using my glossy eyebrow pen and just making my tail bigger. I've noticed that they usually have kind of a bushier, more natural looking eyebrow. So I'm gonna try and replicate that. And I'm personally focusing on my tail because I don't really have a well-defined tail. And then I'm going to go a little bit into just any spots that are kind of gappy. You could probably just put on an eyebrow gel and be fine. But I always go in first and just add some hairs because my eyebrows are pretty thin, and then I will go in and add a gel to make it look more spiky and more natural. So I have the Kosas eyebrow gel and I'm just gonna throw that on. Okay, so now I'm going to brighten up my face. I'm going to do that with my concealer. I have this Maybelline concealer in a shade that's brighter than my, actually it kind of matches my hand, but on my face it's brighter. In order to not get too much though, I like to just put some on the back of my hand and pick it up from there. I'm using this type of brush, I don't really know what it's called. And I'm going to put some on my nose, just a tiny bit, and then on the bridge here. I'm kind of making like a really long triangle shape like this. So doing more of like a triangle. And you'll see it's not super blended right now, but I am going to go over it with the powder, so I'm not going to worry about like blending it too much because I don't want to blend it all the way up and then it just like the contour is too much and it takes it too far. I'm going to go get a little bit more product and you'll see like I'm really barely using that much product. I'm going to go around where I contoured my nose, so like on this part of my eye. So here is the base of my face completed. Now we can go into the eyes and most importantly, the blush. Okay, so I'm gonna move on to the eyes. Usually whenever they do this makeup style, it's like a peachy pink color. Obviously that does not look good on my skin tone, so I'm going to go with a brown yellowish tannish color. I will show you. Excuse how dirty my palette is. I'm going to go in with this color first on my entire eyelid and a little bit under the eye. I am not an eyeshadow expert, and that just goes to show that you can create this look even if you're a beginner. Basically, if I can do it, you can do it too, because I am no good at eye looks. I'm kind of just gonna like tap it under my eye so that it doesn't get too messy. Next, I'm going to go in with this shimmery brown shade, and I'm also going to apply that all over my eye on top of what I just did, but I'm not going to go as high as I just did. I'm pretty much going to stop at the crease, going a little bit heavier on the outer parts of the eye. Now doing that on the other side. Going in with this like metallic-y shade, and I'm gonna put it over what I just did, just using my finger and mainly in the center, but also kind of blending it out. I'm just swiping the crease so that it doesn't look as harsh and it looks kind of blended out. And this is just a clean brush with no product on it. Then I'm gonna take the brush that I was using first and go back into that like metallic-y shade, and once again just kind of tap it under the eye. I'm going to go in with this Fenty Beauty, rubbed it on the tip of my fingers, and I'm just going to focus it really high on the cheek. That sun is coming through, she's helping out. This product is really dewy, so it's going to add a lot of shine back to the face. I'm also going to throw some under the nose and on top of where we contoured the nose. Second, I'm going to take my NARS blush, a little bit darker. It's still kind of sheer, but like way less. And I'm going to put it on my hand, like to spread it out, because I'm going to take a fluffy brush. I'm pretty sure that this is a bronzing brush, but I like to use it and just work it into the bristles and add it to my cheek that way, so I can really control the product. And same thing, I'm just gonna put it really high on the face. Since I am dark skinned and I'm trying to get a flushed look, which is obviously like not a natural look for dark skinned girlies, I'm not necessarily going light on the blush, but I am going in with a sheer blush so that it's not just on top of the skin, because this placement, if I were to go in with a really strong blush, it would look ridiculous. I'm going to go under the nose here, but then I'm also going to go on the chin. Cool, and then it's now that I'm going to go in with my powder, and this powder is a little bit lighter, so I'm just gonna go in all the areas that I brighten, so like the bridge of my nose, under the eyes, and then it's also gonna help me clean up the blush, because as you can see, it's literally all over my face. I'm gonna use it to kind of like really map out where I want the blush to be. I just have like a normal thing, and I like to kind of make it like a triangle so that I can be more precise with it. Going with the clean side and just pat that in. Going in this inner eye area where I added some concealer earlier. I'm gonna also go like a little bit further down the nose here. Okay, now I'm going to do my eyeliner, and I'm using my brow pencil, which is a brown color, so that it's A, very precise, and B, not too harsh like a true black eyeliner would be. Since this is a very like cutesy look, I'm going down and then kind of flicking it up a little bit. And it's kind of like a doughy eye look. And then for my bottom lashes, I'm going to create a line mimicking the top line, but going like this. So it's not necessarily meeting in the middle right there. Do my little eye fat look, so I'm gonna take a really tiny brush. I'm going to mix a pink and a brown shade to create the line. Cool. Then I'm gonna use the light shade. I'm gonna use the same shade that I used on my eyelid and put it in between that line that I just made. Then I'm gonna do my lashes. I'm going to use this Snap mascara, which I can't find anywhere anymore. I think it discontinued. I'm gonna start with my bottom lashes. I am gonna try and make them look really clumpy. Otherwise, at least for my lashes, they won't really show because they're so tiny and so thin. So in order to do that, I kind of just like run it back and forth. Yeah, I'm gonna add the second coat on both lashes, and this time I'm just doing normal swipe down. So instead of doing falsies, I'm just going to put on mascara and do maybe like an extra coat. I want this to look very natural and very effortless, so I'm not going to do falsies because I feel like that would look too done up for what we're going for. Now to finish out the look, I'm going to do my lips, and I'm going to just do a glossy gradient type lip. I'm actually going to use this same blush. Actually, I'm interested in using this, the Glossier Cloud Paint and Haze. Okay, no lo do. I'm gonna use both. I'm gonna use this little brush here, put it into the blush that I already used. I'm just gonna put it on the inner parts of my lips and work it down. Then with my fingers, I'm going to tap into that Glossier Haze. And first thing I'm going to do is add a little bit to my cheek. You'll often see whenever people do this style of makeup that they layer their blush. So I'm going to use this as my now third layer of blush since it's kind of the richest. I'm just going to put a little dot. And then I'll add a little bit more to the bottom of my nose here. And then I'm going to put some also in the center of my lips. Okay, so terrible news. My video ended and I didn't realize until I was editing the video, but this is how the look turned out. I hope that you guys like it. If you did, please try it. Let me know if you try it down below. And of course, if you like the video, you can let me know by commenting, or subscribing. Bye.
You mean bread and butterflies?
Oh, yes, of course.